except for a few MUDs that have private collectors. As you know, your taxes are collected through the Brazoria County Tax Office. Kristen Bolanek is the collector, duly elected by the residents of the county. She does a really good job in collecting your taxes, and I think by way of initial overview, I should point out the fact that each and every year, for many years, you're collecting over 98% of the current levy between the time the bills go out in October and June 30th of each different tax year. So my overall comment, in addition to that percentage of collections, is you don't have what I would call a delinquent tax problem. The information that we'll share with you tonight involves $180,000 of unpaid taxes to the city through the 2024 tax year. As you all may have heard, today is a big day in the tax collection world because yesterday, February 1, was on a Sunday. Everyone had until today to pay their 2025 taxes without any penalties or interest being added to their account. So tomorrow, if you have not paid your 25 taxes, you will owe that base tax plus a 6% penalty and 1% interest. This is all set out under Texas law. Each month that goes forward from here on out on that 25 tax year will add an extra 1% penalty, 1% interest until you get basically to the month of April on your business personal property, at which point there will be an additional collection penalty of 15% added to that unpaid business personal property tax. And then in July, if you haven't paid on your real estate, you will owe the base tax, a 12% penalty, 6% interest, and a 15% collection penalty. Under Texas law, the collection penalties can go up to 20%. Many of the entities in the county are at 20%. Y'all are one of the few that are still at 15. And so that's sort of the overall process of what's going to happen. And so we get involved each tax cycle, basically in April on personal property and in July on the real estate. And how do we get involved? We do a number of things to try to get people to pay their taxes. We send letters. In July each year, we send roughly over 10,000 notices countywide to people that haven't paid their current year tax. We make phone calls, thousands of phone calls. We have people in our office that do nothing all day, every day, but reach out to taxpayers that owe money in Brazoria County and other counties that we do work in. We do emailing. We have contact not only with the property owners, but often with lien holders. So we may find a situation that somebody owes a tax to the city of Manvel. They're always going to generally always owe the school district and the county. And so we're sending out a bill to them. If they don't respond, we'll generally do title research to see, do they have any lenders? Often people do, as you know, mortgages on their homes or on property that they own. And then we reach out to that lender. And oftentimes that reach out to the lender will get the taxes paid and we don't have to take any other action besides that. If those activities don't lead us to a payment agreement or to full payment, then oftentimes we do have to file suit. When that happens, that creates a court cost that's owed by the owner, anywhere from $200 to $300. Depending on how many people have an ownership or lien interest in the property. And we also have a title research fee that is added by law to help recoup the cost of determining who owned the property, what liens there may be, what the correct description of the property is, so that when we file our lawsuit, if we have to go forward and take a judgment, we have all the necessary parties, and we are able to take a judgment that may ultimately have to lead to a tax sale. And so some of you may already receive or have signed up for our website getting notices of tax sales. We have over 25,000 subscribers free subscribing to get notices of tax sales that we do in the county. And in Brazoria County, we have tax sales generally 10 months of the year. Other than January and July, we'll have tax sales anywhere from half a dozen to 3 dozen properties that we'll put up for sale countywide. Fortunately, we don't have many that involve property owners in the city of Manvel, going back to the point that most people in the city are getting their taxes paid. But we do have properties that have to go to tax sale. And so all the work we do leading up to that point is to make sure that if we have to sell the property, a potential buyer, someday, one day, will be able to get a title company to insure the property that they bought at our tax sale. There's a lot of things that go into that. Most people don't want to lose their property, and so our job isn't to sell the property except as a last resort. Our job is to try to find a way to get people to pay. And so what I have for you tonight with that overview is a little bit of more detail of what's owed, how it's categorized, and the things that we do to collect. And so as I mentioned earlier, we start off with $180,000 of base tax that's owed to you. So of the tens of millions of dollars each year that you levy, the majority of it is paid. A small amount is left over to us to collect. As I mentioned, this is an aggregation of all years through 2024 that was due as of January of 2026. You'll note a couple of categories I think that are interest for you. The largest single category is what we label deferral. So as you know, if you're over 65 and it's your homestead, you can go to the appraisal district, fill out the necessary forms, show your proper age or the proper disability that you have, and get a deferral on the payment of your homestead taxes. Now, you still have the right to pay those taxes if you want. What the deferral does is it stops any forced collection, and it creates a different rate of interest that the owner will pay, that the delinquent taxes will incur over time. So long as you own that property and claim it as your homestead, we can take no action. Obviously, if you sell the property, then the taxes would be paid at that time. If the owner passes away, then basically the heirs have roughly 180 days from the date when the tax office mails a bill to the heirs saying, hey, these taxes are owed, to pay it at this lower interest rate. If those time frames expire and the taxes have not been paid, then the penalties and interest jump back up. It becomes a very expensive proposition for the family that sometimes didn't know that mom and dad weren't paying the taxes that they had a deferral. So you've got 80,000 of the 180 in that category. All we do with that category is a couple times a year we double check with the appraisal district to make sure that the deferral is still in place and is correct. Another category I'd point out for you is our action pending, which we've got 19% of the roll. These are the categories that we're still working to get paid without having to file a lawsuit. In some cases, we have a commitment to pay from the owner, and so we'll give them that opportunity to try to sell the property or come up with the money that they need to pay the taxes. After a period of time, if we don't get the commitment followed through by the property owner, we will put it into litigation. You can see we've got 28% of your roll in lawsuit. Oftentimes when we file a lawsuit and the sheriff goes and knocks on somebody's door at 6 in the morning, as they tend to do, it's amazing how many calls we get after that, and people want to pay the taxes. Again, we work with people throughout the process. If the suit is filed and they don't reach out to us, we'll ultimately set it for trial. We have roughly 5 dockets a year in Brazoria County. We take anywhere from 75 to 100 cases to trial each time we have that docket. There are people that want to pay. They don't want to go to court. So it's sort of diminishing numbers over time, from the letters and calls to the lawsuits to judgments, and then ultimately to tax sales. We're at a point in time that we have basically no property, virtually no property in the city that's owned and co-owned by the other jurisdictions as a result of a tax sale. So this first chart just sort of gives you a breakdown of the money that's owed, where we have it. We do have a few uncollectible accounts. How could you have an uncollectible account? Well, you have a business, it's open. On January 1 of a particular tax year, They ultimately go out of business. They have no assets, just not able to collect it. So there's not a lot of that, but there is a few of them that are out there. The second pie chart I have for you is a breakdown by dollar range. This just gives you an idea of the money that's owed within different dollar ranges and the percentage it is to the total. You can see, for example, that the largest category, the $10,000 and up, is only made up of $14,000. So there's not a lot of large accounts out there. The idea, of course, is that we're able to collect it, and we have our collectors look through this roll at the lower levels as well as the higher levels to make sure we're touching all the accounts. As a matter of fact, that largest account that $14,000, that's 8%, is one account that has a deferral that the taxes go back to 2010. So this just gives you a sense of the monies that are due in this particular dollar range. And then we break it down by tax year for you. So as you can see, the largest single year is 2024. So back in July 1 of 2025, the 2024 taxes that were not paid were turned over to us. And at this point in time, there's only $83,000 left of that amount. And I've got a slide for you in a moment to show you what we started out with. And then you can see for 2023, it's 20% of the roll. So 66% of your money is in the last two collection cycles. The newer the tax, the easier it is to collect. And then we've given you some historical collections, and I'll just use this first one by way of illustration, and then I'll jump ahead to the last one in the essence of time. So as I mentioned earlier, our collection work for you begins every July. So for the 2021 tax year, which was originally billed in October 21, was turned over to us July 1 of 2022, there was only $103,000 unpaid of your 2021 taxes. In the first collection cycle from July 1 of 2022 through June 30th of 23, we collected just under 80% of that $103,000. So then we're showing you through year 2 of that collection cycle, it jumped to 84.5. Year 3 of the collection cycle went up to 90%, and then partially through year 4, we're over 91% of that original 103,000, which is less than 2% of what you levy each and every year. So it's really a fractional amount. The same concept goes forward for 2022, 2023, and then for 2024, you'll note we started with $206,000. And as I pointed out to you a moment ago, under our system when we prepared this, there was $83,000. According to the tax office, when the month ended, it was $79,000. The reason for the variance is just that the tax office gives us a report at the end of every month, and our tax system gets updated with their data at different times of the month, so the numbers don't necessarily match up. But you can get a sense that already over 61% of that $206,000 that was turned over to us back in July of 2025 has been collected and resolved. So from an overview standpoint, I would say that your delinquent taxes are, in good shape. We're happy to answer any questions that you may have on this or anything else that we're doing for you. The other thing I'll mention real quick, Mayor, that we've assisted y'all on in the past has been some mowing lien collection as part of our delinquent tax suits. Bobby and I have worked together in the past where the city has had some mowing liens. We've been able to collect that through our delinquent tax collection efforts for the city. With that, happy to answer any questions.
Thank you so much. Thank you for this presentation and overview. Council, any comments and or questions? Councilman Bonner?
So looking at the tax year chart for the city of Manvel, the first one you put up there, the pie chart, from 23, 24, looks like we have over it's doubling the amount of unpaid tax. What do you attribute that to?
The slide, the tax year chart slide that I have up now?
Yes, sir.
That's just a function of time. It's really not. So we take a snapshot. So as of January of 26, this is just what was remaining.
But do you attribute that to population increase? Do you attribute it to business versus homeowners? Is there any way that that's broken down?
If I may, allow me to reframe just your question, because I think maybe so you'll note in 21, you had 103,000 turned over, then it jumped to 100, then it went down to 102, then it jumped to 197 for 23, and then 206. That I would attribute to growth in the community. The percentage is staying strong at 98+% each year. The dollars that we're tasked with collecting have increased somewhat because it's just a bigger pool of money that you're levying tax on. I hope I'm answering your question.
So would part of the fact that people seem to not pay their taxes on time more now than they did 3 years ago?
No.
Is that what you see or not?
No. I'm really just you're seeing growth in your original levy every year, and this is just a byproduct of, again, the percentage is the same. Where I would be concerned if I were you would be if your current levy, instead of collecting 98+% at the end of June each collection cycle, if that started dropping to 94, 93, or 92, then I would say, yeah, there's a problem. There's something systemic going on. But if the current collection percentage is staying at that 98+% and the dollars owed are increasing, it's just a function of new value, new taxes that are pushed into the system because of the growth the city's been experiencing.
And we see that number you're talking about in July, August?
The number that I'm quoting here, these are what get turned over to us each July.
So July or August, our finance department knows what percentage of the tax we collected or was collected by y'all.
Well, what we're going to start with.
Okay,
Yes.
At what point do we know what percentage was paid and what's delinquent?
Each month, the tax office sends reports to the finance department, to Rosie, and it gives them an update each month of what's been collected, both in terms of taxes and penalties and interest, because I know that, they keep their eye sharply on that in the finance department.
Okay. I think that was one thing to understand on the deferral that you talked about upon a death, how that turns over in 180 days.
Yes.
And you said the rates would go up after the 180-day to the normal penalties and interest?
Yes.
Does it start at that day, or does it go back and start when it actually went into deferral?
It goes back. Yeah. The law used to be everything was calculated off of the date of the death of the person. So if I died 2 years ago and the appraisal district didn't learn of that death for 2 years, they would go back and count the 180 days from when the person had died. 2 sessions ago, the legislature changed that, and now it's 180 days from when the tax office sends a bill. So until the appraisal district learns that somebody died, to remove the deferral, to send the information to the tax office, it's still at that lower rate. And so now it'll jump up, like I said, 180 days after the tax office mails out a bill. But yeah, it's very expensive.
Yes. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Bonner. Any other questions? I have 2 great mustaches, by the way, rivaling our chiefs here. He has a great mustache too, so just get you guys going there. All right. For the individuals and property owners that do not pay, when they do pay, do you guys have an index or do you gauge the sentiment as to why they did not pay? Is it because they weren't aware that they had to pay? Is it because of extenuating circumstances? Do you guys collect that at the point of payment?
We don't collect it specifically. Anecdotally, I can tell you based on my experience that, there's a couple, most people pay. So of the ones that are not paying, you have a variety of reasons. They may have a financial problem, maybe they lost their job, they may have a health-related issue that prevented them from pay. It could be that they inherited the property and they have siblings and they are not all on the same page of who should pay or who gets to live in the house. There can also be situations where it doesn't get paid because there may be title problems. Maybe they didn't have clear title to the property. So those are some of the reasons why, but we don't specifically ask why didn't you pay?
Okay. Second question, last one that I have is, do you guys track if there are habitual non-payers, people that year after year they're not paying and it begins to compound over time? Do we see that, or is this throwing a dart on the board and it just is completely random based on the given year?
It's interesting you ask that question. It's always befuddled me of people that sometimes they have a business model of waiting and not paying until July every year and paying exorbitant penalty and interest, and every year they go delinquent and we call them and go, "You're delinquent again. What's the deal?" Well, that's just how I roll. Doesn't make a lot of sense to me, but there are some people that they just don't get around to it or don't want to do it. It's an interesting phenomenon.
So there are some habitual non-payers.
Absolutely. I don't mean this the way this sounds, but I love those people because every year they're delinquent. And then let me make sure I'm clear on something. Y'all don't pay me. The delinquent taxpayer pays my fee. You impose the penalty, but I only get compensated if I collect the account at a certain period of time. So I don't want you to think that y'all are spending money for my services. I'm paid strictly by the delinquent taxpayer.
That makes sense. It reminds me of the HOA that I live in. We had some bills that came up at the end of the year that put us in a little bit of a financial bind to make our HOA payment in January. So we reached out to our HOA and we said, could we get on a payment plan? We want to do right by you guys. We want to pay, but could we pay it out over a 6-month period? And they said, yeah, absolutely. We would love that, but we're going to tack on a $15 fee per month that you don't pay for your payment plan. Started doing some math, and I realized that the fine that they would levy per month for me to not pay was actually cheaper than the $15 fee for the payment plan. So there's a few people that I know that are intentionally not paying, going to pay a little bit each month and take the fine because it's cheaper than the payment plan processing. So I find that it's an interesting model, but
Yeah.
I guess it works. It works for some people.
And the penalty and interest in the tax world, I told somebody the other day, if it wasn't the law, it would be usurious because it's quite high. I mean, that 1% interest goes every month until it's paid. Every single month. So if we have a taxpayer that owes us 4 or 5 years, I mean, that's 4 or 5 years, 12% per year adding up. You can almost get upside down if you're not careful, and the taxes P&I will be more than the value of the property. So, and that's part of the reason why we try not to let accounts sit. We don't really do the taxpayer a favor by just saying, "Oh, well, we'll get to you whenever." Because it can get out of control. And so we're calling first year it's delinquent. We file suit first year it's delinquent if we're not able to get it resolved.
Thank you. I appreciate that insight. Council, any other comments or questions? All right. Staff, anything else from you as it relates to this item? No? Gentlemen, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for this overview.
Thank you. We appreciate the opportunity to work for you and to visit with you tonight.
Absolutely. Thank you. Well, Council, we have some time again in the workshop. You guys good if we run through some agenda items? Let's do it. All right.
Faster the better.
Mayor,
So-
I did just think of one thing. Before they walk out, would council like to have this as maybe an annual update or something like that, just for future meetings? So we can do that after the first year. Does that sound good?
Perfect.
Thank you.
Love to.
Appreciate that. Thank you so
you.
much. Thank you.
Take
guys.
care. Have a good evening.
You as well. All right, so we'll do agenda item number 1, which is regarding a resolution for our schedule of fees. Tammy, I have this one going to you.
So several of the items on here are a result of the second reading that's in the consent agenda of the utility fees that were discussed at the last meeting. The items that were not part of that, that are just specific to the fee schedule, are on your data sheet, which one of them being the increase the deposit for temporary construction meters from $750 to $1,400. That one, the increase is for when they come in for pipeline work, or those meters are expensive. So this deposit just kind of offsets some of the, it's just a deposit, but it helps make sure that we're covered should anything happen with the cost of that meter or that meter in general. The other suggestions is the installation fee. It was $50, now it would go to $100. The deposit, that $750 to $1,400, that one I just mentioned. And then the price per 1,000 gallons would be from $10 per 1,000 gallons to $30 per 1,000 gallons. And although that may seem steep, these are not residents per se that are paying for this service. These are people coming in doing construction work, doing pipeline work, whatever they may need water for, maybe not even in the city work. So it's just making sure that we're recouping and getting our money's worth out of that water and taking the whole picture into consideration. There's a new fee added on there, which was a location change that we did not have before. That would be a $50 fee for if they needed to change the location of which meter they were going to get the water from, as well as changing the wording for we had the water meter base charge. That one, we took base charge out and made it just a flat $100 rental cost as opposed to a base fee. So whether it's 2 days throughout the month or the entire month, it would be that flat $100.
If I could, Mayor, and so if you're on Highway 6 and you know where the big turnaround where Manvel Parkway will eventually come in, there's a traffic signal there. There's a fire hydrant right there that has had a temporary meter on it for quite some time. So the temporary meters are very obvious. That's what we're talking about. If you had to move your meter from your house, we're just the temporary meters. If for whatever reason, hey, now we're on this other side of Valencia or whatever, and that contractor needs to move his temporary meter over to another spot, we want to get eyes on it, make sure that it's not leaking, that we're not wasting any water and those kind of things.
Thank you, Dan. Thank you, Tammy. Council, any comments or questions? Mayor Pro Tem?
So changing this $10 per 1,000 gallons to $30 per 1,000 gallons, how does that compare to other cities around us? Are we getting more in line with them, or are we passing them up?
Oh, please.
She's not Googling. She's looking at the correspondence from Ernie.
I'm sorry, Ernie had sent me a message earlier explaining everything, so I was just seeing how he worded that. So primarily, he did not mention in the sense of what our neighboring cities were doing, but did reference the difference between what a resident or a commercial company that's currently doing business in our city and brings value to our city pays for. If a contractor uses 2,000 gallons, they're paying $20 currently as opposed to $10 per 1,000 gallons for the residential, or the commercial. So he didn't necessarily, or he did not tell me, he checked the.
Can I help?
Yes, he said in line, I'm sorry.
Yeah, more in line. So a commercial, to your point, so a commercial user right now is going to pay $34 a month for the first 2,000 gallons. So the way that's set up right now, we would only be getting $20 from this temporary meter. So we're going to go up to $30 per 1,000 gallons. So it's actually going to be a little bit higher than it normally would be for a permanent commercial meter. But it should be. Like, we don't want this to go on. We're using this temporarily. Do what you need to do, and then let's move on with the project, right? So the short answer is yes, it gets it more in line with where it should be.
Great, thank you.
Good question, Mayor Pro Tem. Any other comments or questions, Council? All right. Agenda item number 2, this is regarding the policy for the formation of municipal utility districts. Bobby, we have you here for an update.
Yeah, Council is really not on for any action, requesting any action tonight, but mainly to give you an update. The MUD policy, I mean, we've discussed it a couple of times, and we do have a bare bones draft that we've been going through, assimilated from a lot of different cities. I've gone through it. Now the mayor's gone through it. And our way that we're going to do this, I think, is now that we've done it, is give it to Joe's. And when Joe's is done, we'll probably meet and get together all of our comments and send it to Dan Johnson. Then when Dan Johnson is happy with it, we're going to bring it to council. And when council's happy with it, I think the mayor had suggested maybe letting some of the stakeholders in town take a look at it, some of the MUD district people to see, or developers to see what they think. If there's any strong impediment to development that we would do, because we're going to have a lot more regulation than we do now. So unless you have any objection to that, that's kind of how we've been attacking it so far, and we're going to continue to plan to get this to council, but it's just taking a little bit of time to get that through everybody.
Thank you, Bobby. Any comments or questions from council? No? Bobby, I want to thank you and Susan for your work on that. Joe's, we look forward to getting your comments and getting it put out here. It's a very well-rounded document, looking at what other entities do, adapting it to our own nuances, and appreciate y'all's work so far.
Thank you.
Agenda item number 3, this is regarding a potential right-of-way abandonment. And Joe's, we'll have you lead this conversation.
This is not a new item. We've discussed it a couple of times, and last time very extensively getting into the details to figure out what exactly was happening. So this is a right-of-way abandonment where the right-of-way spans across 4 properties. So the application and the request is a joint application from the 4 property owners. This, if you know where the area is south of Redeemer Church, it's that right-of-way that goes from Iowa all the way to the railroad. So this was initiated in 2024, and then they did not have a letter of no objection from Centerpoint because Centerpoint Energy had some infrastructure in that right-of-way. Then they tried to modify the request, excluded a little portion, brought it back to council, and council's decision was no, if we abandon it, we're going to abandon the whole section or none. So the applicants went back to Centerpoint Energy, worked with them on getting an easement in place for Centerpoint, and since then Centerpoint Energy has given us a letter of no objection for the whole right-of-way abandonment. And this is the first reading of the ordinance, and if the City Council approves this, then we go out, Tammy will reach out to an appraiser to get a value assessed for whatever portion we are abandoning, and then the second reading of the ordinance would be presented to you once we have all of that finalized.
Thank you, Joe's. Council, any comments and or questions? No.
So, looking at the drawing, I could only see where it looked like the Redeemer Church. So are we talking about all the way down, like where even the doctor's office is? Isn't there a roadbed behind his office?
If you want to pull up the map, I can point it out to you.
Which one was it? The first one?
So as part of the ordinance, we have 4 separate exhibits, but then there is another PDF which kind of shows it combined.
Let's see, there's Redeemer Church.
Right there. So it's just from right here.
Okay, so
right
it's
there.
All right, so it doesn't.
The ER room's up there.
Down. Okay, so it didn't involve the doc. But wasn't there a roadbed behind his office too? An easement?
Yeah, it's a
not the
40-foot
same-
wide road easement, and when Redeemer Church was being built, they had to they had to escrow money for the construction of a road over there, and it's been so many years, and now the property owners are working towards development of that area with drainage and all of that. I'm sorry if I'm not addressing the question.
It's okay. The question was, is this a different right-of-way than what the emergency room has? And the answer to that is yes.
It is, yeah. This is a separate section,
kinds of
starting from Iowa to the railroad. Sorry, I understood the question differently.
It was a good answer. It was a good answer, but
Okay.
outside there. And Council, I talked with Joe's earlier just to get some insight on this, and he said because there's technically 3 different property owners, so potentially the route that we would go is each property owner would get an invoice after it's appraised for whatever the value is, and then they would pay it at that point. And if in the future, let's say a big commercial development comes all around Redeemer Church, they would have to do a traffic impact analysis that would show if there needs to be any right-of-way dedication for different roads or access. They'd have to do that at that point. Is that correct, Jose? Okay. Tammy, did you have something?
You guys will meet in executive session to determine the value. We'll give you what the appraised value is, and then in executive session, you'll have that meeting and determine, and then after that, yes, you guys will set that, and then the invoices will be issued.
Perfect. Thank you, Tammy. Thank you, Jose. Council, any other comments or questions? No? Okay. Agenda item number 4. This is requested by Councilman Oplager and Councilwoman Sarmiento regarding alarm registration fees and animal registration fees. Councilman?
And I appreciate the second. So this is something that's been, I've looked at for a while. The chief had a presentation not long ago or a while ago about the responses to alarms, false alarms. And I looked at it and I said, God, that's kind of a high number. So I met with the chief a couple times, and through the discussion, there was an opportunity to change the coding, the way the alarm responses were still coded, and that brought the numbers down. But the however is that when you read the ordinance, and in the fee schedule, it says $50, there'll be a permit fee of $50. Well, that's just, in today's world, the technology has changed so much to where, and I don't know exactly when this ordinance was written, but the technology of home security systems today is you pick it up at Best Buy, you take it home, and you plug it in. It is no longer a hardwired system that requires technicians to come out to your house, wire it all up, and do that work. It is plug and play by the homeowner. It's impossible. It's going to be impossible to try to chase that down, to try to figure out who has a permit, who doesn't, right? It's just impossible. And the longer I looked at it and the more that the technology is changing in this industry, it just makes sense to me that this is something that we take a look at and say, because the police are going to show up. And if they get a call, the police are going to show up. It doesn't matter if you have a permit or not. All right, they're showing up. And it's impossible for them to try to chase that down. It's just not financially realistic for us to have this on the books. And beyond that, then the more I got to looking at it and started clicking on our tool, it's a very difficult tool to figure out where the permit lives and how to even ask for it. And even on that, I'm going to say that it's better to say registration, but it's difficult to find it, right? Because when you go there, it says permits. That's not where it lives. It lives in registrations or something like that, completely different. And then it takes like 6 to 8 clicks just to get there when you know what you're looking at. So it's just a lot of clicks, and in today's world where folks live with the phone, right, where it's ease of use on the phone, we're never going to be successful. And to me, this is only setting us up for a failure, right, of some kind. And it's just not beneficial for us to even have this on the books, right? Now clearly we want to keep the ordinance in place, just revise it, right? Because there's going to be, because even more so, I was looking at this today, it's AI eventually, and I think this is what the risk that we're really going to see. AI is going to be calling the police departments one day, right? And I don't know how we're going to get there and what that's going to look like, but you're going to have artificial intelligence calling the police to say something's going wrong at my house. So the whole world is really changing in that. But we want to be able to say, hey, at least if there's a problem, multiple alarms or dispatches to that residence, you still want to keep that structure in place. I'm just saying, eliminate the fee. I've clicked around. Sugar Land, it's free, right? The city of Sugar Land says, you know, if you have a home alarm system, all we ask is that you register it here on our system. Tell us a little bit about it. It varies in around town, $5 to $10 to $25. I think we're the absolute highest at $50 a permit. And commercial is $100, right? So it's just that it just doesn't work. And that's kind of, you know, and I've talked about it, and I said, you know, because it's an annual renewal on your permit from the 1st of January to the end of the year. And what better time to say, either we say, yep, we want, I agree with this, and eliminate the fee, or continue with it. I know the chief, I asked the chief, I even found something and say, here, hand these out. And they did that, and it really didn't garner much results as far as people saying, oh, I didn't know, right? So it's just too much. I think, again, it's just going to be, it's not value add to who we are, right? Because again, I think if we go with this course of, we're here, we're your partner, we want you to protect your asset, this is your choice, all we're asking is that, you know, and we can go spend the money to have it registered or not even worry about it, right? Because people, again, today, you buy this tool, you load the app on your phone, you see what's happening, and you click a button and it's calling the police. That's where we're at. So I just thought, yeah, it's all on the app now, Chief. Chief, give me the thing. But yeah.
If I might, I don't want us to confuse your Ring camera systems and your technology that comes plug and play you're talking about compared to your alarm systems like ADT, ATT, and all of those that are actually monitored by an alarm company.
Right.
It's two different things. We don't respond to Ring camera systems. Those are monitored by your homeowners.
I'm not talking about a Ring camera. I'm talking about the products.
The only alarm systems we respond to are alarm companies, not somebody just calls up and says, hey, we got an alarm here. They have to be a registered alarm company. So I don't want to confuse that, what we respond to as compared to what.
This one here was at Best Buy, Arlo Intelligence, right? And fire detection, customer detection, event captions, detailed summaries. It's all on that.
I understand.
So again, the technology is changing.
We don't respond to those.
Let me interject just a bit.
So what?
What you mean is auto respond, right? So if someone has an alarm company at their business and it's set up through Xfinity or whoever's alarm service.
Correct.
We're on vacation. My brother, true story, walks in my house to sit my house, doesn't realize he triggered the alarm. He's in the shower. 60 seconds later, they're in my house, guns pointed at my brother. True story. Thank you for that, right? That's what I think he means by responding, where it's auto-responding if it triggers an alarm system, because there's a difference between a Ring alert and a robbery in progress where you see someone is in my kitchen. Now I need to call 911 and let them know there's a robbery in progress. And then there's dispatch. There's different modalities of that dispatch and what you respond to, right?
Yes, and you're correct. There's different. You got your burglar alarm, you have your panic alarm, you have your hold-up alarm. A lot of these are more focused on the commercial side with your hold-up and your panic, but you still have your panic alarm, stuff like that. But these are all monitored through an alarm company. So, you know, and to go with what I was talking about earlier, you know, when this was coming up, me and the city manager talked about this along with the pet registration fees. I did some research too, and I started looking too. And yes, the technology is there, okay, but we still have those systems that are being monitored by alarm companies. Now, if council chooses to do away with the fees, then that's fine. I mean, it's up to y'all what y'all really want to do. And we can set that up, and we talked about this, we're already paying for, well, some people have already paid for the year, so to do that, we would consider going into later on this year with the announcement, okay, we're not going to take any more alarm registrations for the 2027 year out. Because right now, people have already paid for the 2026 year.
How many of those, like how many residents are actually paying for an alarm fee?
I don't have that number.
How can we
on-
get that? Because I think that'll help shed some light on how many people are actually registering their alarm system. And is it more commercial? And then the bigger question that I have is, okay, fine, we charge this fee. What do they get in return for the fee?
The fee is more like an administrative fee of what we have to do on the back end of the registration through MyGov and stuff like that. You still get the response. We're still going to respond to any alarm, even if it's a Ring camera. Somebody calls in and says, hey, I see somebody at my front door kicking my front door, and we're still going to respond to it.
Of course.
The response is always going to be there. But I think what Councilman Oplinger is talking about is the actual fee that's assessed to it. Now, if council chooses to reduce the fee, then we can do that. If council chooses to get rid of the fee altogether, we can do that. I don't think it's going to change the registration aspect of it. I don't think it's going to convince anybody any further, because we have people today that when we go to these houses and we tell them, hey, your alarm's going off, you're not registered. Oh, I didn't know I had to do that.
Exactly. So
So-
there's
so-
no information, there's no education on it, and really, it's a fee, which is a revenue driver. It's a stream of income for the city. So I would be okay with us reducing it or us having a fee if there was a value in return for it. But if it's just an admin fee, then I'm of the mindset that, these are taxpayers. It's part of what they get, police service. Now, if there's something more, or if we want to look at commercial businesses paying for a registration fee, I'm open to that. But I think for residential, I would be okay with looking at other ways to fix that.
Again, that's totally up to y'all, what y'all want to do. If y'all want to do that, we can make that happen. But keep in mind that we've got people that have already paid for the 2026 year.
And when do they pay for that?
They're supposed to pay for it between December 1st and January 1st.
Do they get a
of the
bill
previous
for
year.
that? Because I've never received a bill or anything.
No, it's just on the website and through ordinance.
So you have to
We can't-
physically go in, remind yourself it's time to pay my registration fee. I wonder how many people actually do that.
I think I have that number.
Okay.
Michelle had given that to us. This is back in September. We had 12 business permits and 156 residential permits. So, I mean, it's
That was just 1 month?
total. Yeah, I
That's
mean,
for
it's-
the year?
It's inconsequential. It's at some point, it's more trouble than it's worth, I think is
Exactly.
Councilmember Oplinger. So if more people will register, if that's the thing, great. But really, it's almost more trouble to collect the fees and process it and everything else. The
Yeah.
process is still good. I mean, and I guess we can jump over to the animals, because that's another one.
Well, it's the same. When you have these alarms, you're already registered the alarms through the alarm company. So when the alarm, say like someone breaks into your house, you're already registered with the alarm company. The alarm company has all the information we need. He hit it on the point. Technology's changing. It's the same thing with the animal control fees, the registration fees. Technology's changing. And some of the research that I have done, Pearland, I didn't see where they had a registration fee for alarms. Pearland, Alvin, they don't have registration fees for animals anymore. But what they did in lieu of the registration and the registration fees is they put in their ordinance mandatory microchipping for all animals. That gives us the same information as a registration does. It even
Well,
helps us. It even helps
it's
us
even
out
better.
better. It even helps us out better because now we can scan the animals and we know who the animal belongs to instead of picking up an animal and trying to guess who this brown and white puppy belongs to based off of a registration. So that's something we were looking at as far as modernizing, I guess you would say, some of our ordinances, and it's the same thing with the alarms. They're already registered through the alarm company. They've got the information we need as a responding agency. They call us, tell us, hey, this is operator so-and-so, we have an alarm at this address right here. We say, okay, who's the key holder? They tell us who the key holder is. That's all we need to have. It's the same thing we collect.
How do we enforce it, though? How do we enforce the mandatory registration of your pets?
That comes, it's hard to do because we can't go door to door and find out who has pets.
So
basically what it is.
we have to promote it, we have to push it, and we have to get the word out and let the residents know it's mandatory. Please register your animals. And I would go as far to further to say that if there was a fee, then it would go to compensate for if your dog runs wild, for us to pick up that dog, hold it for you, keep it safe, and then return it to you. But then that challenges the other side of where my mind goes is, well, we pay taxes and we pay dearly because I just wrote that check.
Well,
yesterday.
what you're talking about is the impound fee. If we pick an animal up, we have an impound fee,
Okay,
not a registration fee.
okay.
But the registration fee is minimal. I think it's
Yeah.
$5 and $10.
It's more of a hassle, like he said, to collect it.
What that pays for the licensing, and we send out a tag to the animal owners with your registration number. We can do all of that through microchipping.
Yeah.
And that's what most cities are going to now. That's the modern technology, I guess you would say, of the registration process. So
Now, here's my other question. If we wanted to really modernize it, what are some ideas to enhance the service instead of just thinking, well, let's just do away with it and it's just the bare bones? Maybe we come up with some ideas that are innovative for the city of Manvel and how we approach registrations with animals.
Well, I want to keep us focused on the agenda item right now, which would be specifically the removing of the fees. We are getting close on time here. I know Councilman Bonner, you had yourself unmuted, so I'd like to turn it over to you.
I see the fee part on the alarms. Like you say, you're only doing the ones that are monitored. So I don't understand really what that fee is doing. Administrative fee to enter information that you already have, really.
we don't have it until the alarm company calls.
Well, but that's what I mean, but you don't get a call
but-
for service until
correct.
they call you either, right?
Correct. The information is there, and that's what kind of triggered some of my thinking on this, is the information's already there.
Yeah. So
You
I
know,
don't
they've
I have a
got the
problem
information,
with doing
so-
away with that one. The animal fee, I don't have a problem doing away with it, but I can more understand what the $5 or whatever it is going towards. So I don't have a problem with doing away with either one of them. I had some discussions with Manager Dan that I'm a strong proponent that we update our animal ordinance to requiring microchipping. My only problem with that is that's even a hassle, listening to some of the stories about there being 20 different databases and not being able to find some of those microchip information.
But the microchipping is only effective if the owner of the animal keeps up with the registration. And that's an annual registration every year. Not through us, through the microchip company.
And I
If they
think-
don't keep up with that, we can scan it all day long. There's ways to do it, but it's more of a process.
And I think that's where maybe we can expand on education about that system through animal control, through our city websites. I agree, we need to make them simpler. So I think the question, the ask is a good one.
And so, Councilman Hopliger and Councilwoman Sarmiento, what you guys, to summarize this, what your ask is specifically for tonight is to provide direction to staff to zero out the alarm registration fee and the animal registration fee. And then as a part of doing that, see if there's other ways to innovate, simplify the registration process, possibly some other improvements to ordinances in the future. Does that summarize it?
Absolutely.
Okay, perfect.
Mayor, can I qualify that real quick? So residential permit right now is $50 annually. Commercial permit is $100 annual, alarm I'm talking about. We're only talking about those two. We're not talking about the false alarm permit fee, false alarm
No.
fees. We still want to keep those intact, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, so just those two.
Talking about the permit fee.
Right.
That's it.
Okay.
And it's effective 2027.
I think that's what we were talking about, either October 1 or January 1, I guess, of 2027, right?
Yeah, we can actually come in and create the ordinance and change the fee schedule, go effective October 1, which would eliminate a lot of the, what's the word I'm looking for? Late payees, I guess you say, that, and they come in October and pay. It's a reduced amount, but that'll get the word out for the December to January deadline to register your alarms. I think that would be the best way of doing that.
And we will no longer move forward on collecting those as of now. New businesses, we're not going to wait, right?
We'd have to wait for the ordinance to change and get the vote on that.
And then on the animals, the pet registration, if they're spayed or neutered, it's $5. If they're not spayed or neutered, it's $10. Then Chief talked about the pet impound fee of $30 for the first day. So we're going to keep all the impound fees, right? Keep those, just remove or zero out the if spayed or neutered or not spayed, either way, the $5 or $10, zero those out. Okay, just making sure.
And then we'll take a formal vote when we get to this agenda item, council, just to make sure that we have that clear direction to staff there. So appreciate both of you for bringing this
Cool.
forward. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other comments or questions regarding this agenda item? No? All right, well, we'll take a little bit of a break here. Ms. Shauna, I think you're here to do the presentation for fire prevention? Okay. Are we going to have the 2 contest winners here tonight?
I know for sure one has confirmed, I'm not sure.
Okay, perfect. I'll call you forward for that agenda item. Council, any other comments or questions regarding the consent agenda?
One little clarification, I didn't understand the one, I think it's number 3 under that, because it was worded differently. You know, this is the Dogwood part that's in Valencia. I got confused thinking we were talking about the Dogwood part that's outside of the subdivision. I'm sorry, I'll repeat that. I got a little confused on item number 3 under that. It didn't say Valencia like the other references made, but it is in Valencia. It's basically the section of Dogwood by the 160-acre tract.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you, Councilman. All right, Council, let's take a 6-minute recess. We'll come back at 6:05 to get started. Thank you, everyone.
I like
Meeting regular session to order. We have 6 of 7 members present. Councilwoman Roby Robinson gave birth to her healthy and beautiful child, and she is on the path to recovery. We look forward to having her join us back at a future meeting here soon. We will start with our invocation tonight, and we have the privilege of having former Councilman Ed Perry joining us tonight, and he is going to lead us in the invocation. There he is right there. So come on up, sir. Thank you for being here, you and your beautiful family.
Good evening, everyone. Mayor Davis, council, community, let us look to the Lord in prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, we come tonight to say thank you. God, we thank you for your many blessings, for your grace, for your mercy, and most of all, for your unconditional love. We invite your presence in this place on tonight, Lord God, and we ask that you would have your way, that godly wisdom would prevail. We ask that you would touch the hearts and minds of the leaders, as well as the members of the community, Lord God, that we would do things that would honor you, Lord God, and that would serve the community. We ask for your strength and for your power as we move forward, Lord God, knowing that all good things come from you, and know that as we do things according to your will and your way, Lord God, you will bless us and prosper us. We thank you, Lord, and we love you. In the mighty and matchless name of Jesus the Christ, we pray and ask it all, and we say amen.
Amen, amen, amen.
Miss you, buddy.
All right, next we will go on to the inspirational reading from Councilmember Oplager. Councilman?
There we go. So last month, so the last time I had the opportunity to do this, I talked about Steve Harvey and being prepared and how he was ready in his craft. When the call came, he was prepared. He executed it, and he was very successful. So, and then last meeting, Ron Cox talked to us about being prepared. Right, and I think that's a very realistic expectation of anybody to be prepared. So tonight I want to talk about a little bit about kind of the same thing, about listening and being prepared. And this story is, and I hope I say his name right, Mark Knopfler is from the band Dire Straits. Now this goes back many years, right, a long time ago, to 1977, right? And so he had a dream. He had a dream of, a long time ago, he had a dream of being a singer, songwriter, musician, right? But he was working part-time, and the story goes, he stepped into a pub, and there was a band. I'm going to read some of this because I thought it was kind of neat. He stepped out on stage. There was a jazz band playing, but not very well. The band was struggling as they were out of tune, out of sync, and clearly not professionals, just enthusiasts giving it their best. When the set ended, the singer, drenched in unearned confidence, stepped to the microphone. Good night. Thank you and good night. What Mark saw in that singer's confidence, there was dignity in his delusion. There was something deeply human about loving what you do, even when nobody else cares. So he went home and he wrote about it. And the song was The Sultans of Swing. And it took several years for it to materialize and develop and become a hit. But in what he saw, right, because he listened and he saw that there's something heroic about what those guys were doing. They believed in themselves, and they didn't care. They were having a good time. And so it wasn't irony or mockery, just affection for what they were doing, and that's what Mark saw. And he saw that, so he listened, he saw, and he was prepared to execute. And he wrote a song, and it took several years to materialize. But in all of our endeavors, right, I think all you could ask is being prepared. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. If you can, please stand and join me in saying the pledges.
First to the U.S. flag. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Kind of confused. I turned around. I'm
You're like, what's that third flag right there?
flag
All right, next we have our presentations, and first we're going to invite up our fire marshal, Miss Shauna, who is going to be recognizing our fire prevention coloring contest winners. Miss Shauna.
So during Fire Prevention Month is in October, and during our trunk or treat, we had a fire prevention poster contest and a fire prevention coloring contest, and depending on age and grade, that's the category you went into. And so our poster contest winner, if you can come up.
Let's give them a round of applause.
Can you speak loud and tell us your name and your age? Yeah, see what's your name. There you go.
My name is Arav and I'm 7 years old.
So at the time, Arv was 6 and had the best poster out of the entire competition. And so we just wanted to encourage you to keep, educating on fire prevention and keep the creativity in your art.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Miss Shauna, if you guys want to come forward here in the center, Tammy will take a photo of you guys.
And is Miss Ellie here?
Thank you so much.
Testing, testing. All right, it's working now. Council, if you guys can join me around in the front for this. So next, we have a proclamation that we are going to issue for the month of February being Black History Month. And this month is actually the 100th year commemoration for Black History Month. We were able to invite out tonight the NAACP with Miss F.J. Jones and some of your associates here. If you guys want to come forward, please, we'd love to welcome you. Thank you guys for being here tonight. And as they come forward, just to speak on this a little bit, and then Ms. FJ, as the chair for the NAACP, I'll give you an opportunity to say a few words here. Welcome, guys. Come on forward. You guys, come on. Hey, come on up here. Well, thank you, everyone, for being here. As I was thinking about this proclamation over the weekend, I heard a sermon from a pastor, and he was talking about that before time began, our Creator in heaven, he knew us, that he knit us together in our mother's womb, that regardless of the circumstances of how we came into this world, each of us are here for a reason, and we see that enshrined in the Declaration of Independence. It says that our rights are not bestowed to us by government, they're bestowed to us by our Creator, that all men are created equal. But as we all can look back and recognize, that's not always been true in America, and it's not true to this day. And as we think about this proclamation, what it's meant is important, but also what it means heading into the future is just as equally important. So tonight, we thank you guys. We thank the NAACP for all that you do for our county, for our community, the way that you advocate for truth and equality. We appreciate you very much. And this Black History Month proclamation is issued by me based on the authority vested in me as mayor of the city of Manvel, and I am proclaiming officially February 2026 as Black History Month.
Oh, okay. Come on, Tammy. And you want to come on up here? In case y'all didn't know, this is Reverend Perry's son. And he's our photographer for tonight. Thank you. Yeah, I know, right? Make you know. So first of all, I would like to say thank you to the city of Manvel, especially the mayor of Manvel, for acknowledging this particular occasion. I have to be honest with you, I think you're the only city in the county who has. So let's give that a round of applause. And I'd also like to thank everyone here tonight, including the illustrious members of the NAACP, for taking this time to come out and celebrate this moment. And we look forward to celebrating this moment every day for the next 365 days, not 28, okay? All right, so thank you so much again. I'm FJ Jones, the chair of the Brazoria County NAACP.
Mayor, I see you up here.
Hi, darling. Needed out of this chair.
Sorry, I wasn't here last time.
But you're here now.
I'm here.
All right, thank you, everyone. Next, we have a public comment card that has been submitted. So I will read out your name. We'll have you come forward. You might need to raise the microphone on the podium there, but please state your name and address. Oh, Chad beat us to it. Thank you, Mr. Chad. Please state your name and address for the record. You will have 3 minutes to address the body, and we will have the time up on the monitors for you. So the public comment submitted for tonight is Mr. Steve Saunders. Mr. Steve, thank you for being here tonight, sir.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening to Mr. Mayor and Council and to residents of Manvel. I just wanted to introduce myself. My name is Steve Sanders. I'm running for Brazoria County Treasurer, and I live in, let me back up. Steve Sanders running for Brazoria County Treasurer. I live in Meridiana, 9718 Humboldt Trail in Iowa Colony. So it's good to come out here and see my neighbors. I just want to come out here and introduce myself to everybody. I'm not going to give you a full speech or anything like that. However, I'm a blue-collar guy, an Army veteran, a union member for 25 years, and I was the union secretary-treasurer for 3 terms, and I run for county treasurer because I work for hardworking people that work with their backs and their hands. And so when you represent people who work with their backs and their hands, their money is a little different. So they entrust a lot more into you because you have to do more to earn it. So I just want to come out here and say hello to everybody, and introduce myself, and I'll be seeing me. And I love what y'all do with the city. Follow you, Mayor, on Facebook. And if you can get a Mr. Car Wash, that'd be great. You know, I appreciate that. Thanks for the lows. www.electstevesanders.com. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Steve. Appreciate you being here. Thank you for your service as well to our country. Ms. Tammy, any other comment cards? Okay. Next, we have the city manager update.
Thank you, Mayor. The first thing I wanted to let you know about was today we had the kickoff. We gave the notice to proceed to Crane Group to start on the City Hall expansion and Heritage Park. So they actually walked the site. I believe the road right behind City Hall is going to be closed for a little while we reconstruct that road, and they're going to shut it down, Thursday, Robbie? I believe so. So that's a very exciting thing. Lewis Lane sidewalk, I mentioned to you before that we've got the approved construction plans for those, so we are soliciting bids for that project now. And then since Reverend Perry is in the audience tonight, good news, we have the approved plans for the Newport Lake Estates turn lane. So it's a good thing you showed up, because that project was, I don't know if it was going to make or not. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. So we're getting bids right now from contractors to actually perform that work. So all three of those are very exciting projects for the year. A couple of calendar things. So Wednesday morning, we'll have the pre-bid meeting for the City Center P3. And then we'll do a site visit after that for any of the folks that want to actually go out and look at the 160 acres. That's this Wednesday morning. Next Wednesday is the State of the State. So I believe Congressman Berry and Vasut will both be there. That's at Nolan Ryan. I imagine it's probably full by now, or, yeah, okay. So just as a reminder then, if you're signed up for it, that's next Wednesday at the Nolan Ryan Center in Alvin. And then the last reminder is President's Day will be Monday, February 16th. So the next council meeting will be on a Tuesday, the 17th.
The 17th, okay. Sir. Tammy, could we get you to send out a calendar invite for us for that Tuesday? That way we just remember and it's on the calendars. Perfect. Thank you. Thank you, Dan. Exciting. All right. Next, we have the consent agenda. Just open it up again. Any comments or questions regarding the consent agenda? Hearing none, do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda? We have a motion to approve from Councilman Rossi Knox. Do I have a second? We have a second from Mayor Pro Tem Lands. All those in favor? All those opposed? Motion passes unanimously, 6-0. For the public, just so you know, we had a very productive workshop, so a lot of these items were discussed during the workshop. We would encourage you to go back and watch that. It is online for your viewing, but we'll be moving through these pretty quickly here. Regular agenda item number 1, which is consideration and possible action to approve resolution 2026-R-08. Council, any comments and or questions? Tammy presented this during the workshop. Hearing none, do I have a motion for this agenda item?
I'll make a motion to approve.
We have a motion to approve from Councilwoman Sarmiento. Do I have a second? We have a second from Councilman Bonner. All those in favor? All those opposed? Motion passes unanimously, 6-0. Next is consideration and possible action to direct staff on a municipal utility district mud policy and update provided from the city attorney. But there is, Bobby, as you mentioned, no action needed tonight, correct? Okay, perfect. Agenda item number 3, this is consideration and possible action to approve the first of 2 readings of ordinance number 2024-0-28. Joe's presented this item in the workshop as well. Council, any comments and or questions? Hearing none. Councilman Oplager, can I have a motion?
I'd like to make a motion to approve.
We have a motion to approve, and I will second that. All those in favor? All those opposed? Motion passes unanimously, 6-0. Agenda item number 4, consideration and possible action to direct staff on removing fees for the following requested by Councilmember Oplager and Councilmember Sarmiento. A is alarm registrations, B is animal registrations. We did discuss this during the workshop. Any other comments and or questions from council? Hearing none. Councilman, can I have a motion?
I'd like to make a motion to approve to direct staff on removing the fees for alarm registration and animal registrations.
I have a second from Councilwoman Sarmiento, and as a clarifier, this is not the impound fee, this is not the false alarm fee, it's just the registration fees. Perfect. All those in favor? All those opposed? Motion passes unanimously, 6-0, and we look forward to having something before us in the future. Thank you, Councilman Oplager, thank you, Councilwoman Sarmiento, and thank you, Chief, for the overview of this item as well. Next, we have the executive session. I will read this out, then we'll step back into executive session. Dan, please have whomever we need from staff to join us. This is going to be City Council will convene into executive session pursuant to Texas Government Code Section 551.074, personnel matters, to deliberate the appointment, employment, evaluation, and duties of a public officer or employee. Discussion regarding applicants for appointment to the Planning, Development, and Zoning Commission, including applicant status, communications, interview, preparation, and discussions of service, expectations, and duties as they relate to the evaluation and appointment of board members. We will step back into executive session here at 6:28 p.m. Thank you, everyone. All right, council will reconvene from executive session here at 7:12 p.m. We are joined by Councilwoman Roby Robinson. Welcome, Councilwoman, welcome back.
Thanks, guys.
Okay. Next, we will move on to mayor and council comments. Any council comments? No? Okay. Anything, staff, that we need to know? Anything we need to be aware of? No? All right, well, that's it. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Not yet.
Oh, not yet?
I have a comment.
Oh, yes.
Congratulations to the new mommy next to me.
Yes.
Thank you.
I think, is this the first council baby?
Yeah.
Oh, making history. There we go. We have to do a special proclamation for that, to recognize that. So we'll get that done there. And baby, for everyone that's probably listening online, baby's healthy. Everyone's doing good. You and baby are healthy.
Yes, we're doing good. He was in the NICU. Well, I guess yesterday he's turned 2 weeks old. And so he was in the NICU the first 7 days. I started to come to the first meeting, but then the mayor said, you better not be here. And I was like, okay. But yeah, he's doing good. My 3.5-year-old is adjusting. He says it's my baby, but then you'll catch him like trying to poke him in the eye or like shaking the swing set. So it's like, yeah.
He hasn't done one of those videos where he goes, send me back, send me back.
You know what? He did say go away yesterday. So I don't know. Maybe I should have spaced it out a little bit more, but yeah.
So she gets discharged from the hospital. Then the next day she texts me and she's like, yeah, I think I might come to the council meeting tonight.
Well, no,
I'm
I
like,
got discharged the same day as the meeting.
The same day it was. I'm like, no, you're not going to come to the meeting. I'm not going to let you come to this meeting. And your husband agreed. He goes, no, you're not. You're not
Yeah.
going.
Well, because I knew we were voting on, what's it called? Something I wanted to vote on. And yeah, and that was my original date that I had this whole dream about in my mind. Yeah, so I was like, yeah, let me still go. But no, I'm glad I didn't though, because it was, well, I know I told my mom that one of the council members had delivered like 2 or 3 babies. She was like, Carmen, no. Okay.
Congratulations. Carmen.
Thank you.
Congratulations. All right. Any other comments? Okay. Do I have a motion to adjourn? We have a motion from Councilman Bonner. Do I have a second?
Second.
We have a second from Councilwoman Sarmiento. All those in favor? All those opposed? Motion passes unanimously, 7-0. Thank you, everyone, and good night.